brother. I'm definitely going to be ruffling some feathers with this one today. Since the dawn of time, dragons have struck fear, awe, and power in the hearts of men. The dragon has become a symbol not only for wisdom, but for supreme ruling, fortune, favor, magic, knowledge, wisdom, power, you name it. They are the apex predators of our imaginations, and they rule our psyche in a way that inspires awe, fear, and courage. Hey Hatchlings, it's Dragon Feather. I'm back, and we're going to be discussing the dangers of working with dragons. Now more than ever, people are interested in dragon magic, and while I couldn't be more excited to welcome you to this wonderful path and practice, there are so many things that you must be aware of for your own safety moving forward in this path. I've been creating content on dragon magic for 13 years now, and one thing that I've always been an advocate for is safety first. When we work with dragons, it's imperative that we remain grounded in reality, science, and the mythological histories of these magnificent creatures. In honor of Dragon Appreciation Day, today I bring you how to appreciate your dragons with respect and honoring them in a grounded fashion, and as well as how to steer clear from those who would seek to abuse and use the awe, might, and power of dragons for personal gain and power. Everyone say hi to Mia. She says subscribe to the channel if you love dragons and cats. Don't you? She has nothing to say. She's very quiet. Probably my best tip when it comes to working with dragons is to remain grounded in science, history, and mythological precedent of our world. All this means is that we're going to prioritize the reality of science, history, and mythological precedent above our own unverified personal gnosis, or a personal belief that we have created that is not verifiable in either history, mythology, or science. Please keep in mind that this is something that is incredibly important because when we forget the historical and mythological context of dragons, we actually start culturally appropriating them. And the reason why this is because dragons didn't just come out of our imaginations. No ma'am. Dragons came from our ancient histories. Dragons are older than some of our words today, like witchcraft and dinosaur. The word dragon predates some of our language that I didn't even know until recently. This is why studying dragons is an ongoing experience and something that is a lifelong journey. If you want to show your dragons appreciation, don't culturally appropriate them. Prioritize history and your studies of mythology when working with dragons, and you are going to be doing just fine and impressing the dragons far more than you could ever imagine. Another common practice or belief we see in the dragon magic space has to do with past lives as dragons, dragon riders, or even offering past life readings or reversions. And this can be a very tricky slope for many of us because some people will claim that they can confirm a past life for you as a dragon when this is simply just not reality. The only one who can truly claim or truly know for sure if they have experienced a past life as a dragon or a dragon rider is you yourself. Do not ever let anyone have the power to determine your identity for you. Enabling people to confirm these things for you without them asking for your consent or checking in with you to see if it resonates with you is entirely problematic and very dangerous, and individuals who do these practices should absolutely be avoided at all costs because they are not respecting or appreciating the dragons. I would also like to expand upon this for anyone who claims or believes that they have had past lives within the context of mythology. That is absolutely not real as well. See, mythology are actually historical accounts of stories. They are almost like tales, right? They're not real. Like Tiamat wasn't literally slain and her body made the earth and the heavens. This is a story, and they're full of symbolism and therefore teaching human lessons and conveying human themes and archetypes throughout cultural history. It's a way that we remember our humanity sometimes when we didn't have a way to either write it down or pass it on. We simply sang songs or told stories, and that is how we create myths. People who are creating identities for themselves within mythological context or historical mythological contexts are delusional. This is going to ruffle feathers, but I don't care because this is for the safety of our community. I see many people claiming that they were the firstborn son of Tiamat, or people claiming that they are Tiamat herself, or people claiming that they have Astral Avenger teams. And this is just something so archaic, I can't even believe it's really happening. And a lot of this has come to be because of the environment over on TikTok. It has sensationalized the practice of dragons to being some sort of awe-inspiring mission that people are on. They are chosen ones, and etc. It's very, very dangerous. And to believe that you're part of these mythological stories and you had past lives of these stories, it can get very dangerous very quickly, and people can end up really hurting themselves and have mental episode breaks that we could consider psychosis. People who are going to give you readings that are really high prices, not breaking down why they are so high priced, as well as not asking for your consent, as well as not informing you that they're for entertainment purposes only, which is legally required, by the way. So anyone who's offering you a reading that doesn't disclose that are breaking the law. Yeah, yikes. It's incredibly important for them to check in with you and say, how does this reading resonate with you? If people are just saying, this is what I got for you and this is what I confirmed for you, that is a red flag. Those people are scammers, and they're going to tell you whatever you want to hear in order to get your money, unfortunately. And that is just not how we appreciate our dragons at all. I would like to make it very clear that no one can connect you to your dragons for you. That is not how we appreciate our dragons. Part of the whole entire reason why dragon witches call themselves dragon witches and pride themselves in being so is because of the intense dedication that it takes to connect with our dragon guardians. We can't just buy a reading and voila, we have a new dragon guardian. That is just not reality. That is just very problematic and dangerous. And people who can confirm dragons for you without, again, verifying your consent and asking if it resonates with you is incredibly important. People who do dragon connection readings, for example, or like dragon guardian connection readings, for example, like I offer, you are able to pull forth a dragon that's already around you. This means that I'm not making up a dragon out of thin air for you. It means that I'm tapping into the ones that are around you. But again, it's all about you, right? These readings are about you. Does it resonate with you? Does it feel good to you? Does it feel right? Does it feel like it's part of your journey? Because if not, then it's just for entertainment purposes only. And even if it does resonate, please know that these readings are never fact. They're never absolute truth. They are never the smoking gun of reality. They are simply a tool that we can use to tap into our dragon guardians. It's imperative that you do that first for yourself. You have to do this for yourself if you want to be a dragon witch. Because if you can't connect to your dragon guardians, or if you can't read for yourself, or if you can't, do your own dragon connection readings, then how in the hell are you ever supposed to expect someone to do it for you in a way that resonates, makes sense, and is actually evident? Some of these people will literally just do this for a quick buck because they bought a deck and they think that now they can give you readings and tell you the future, or tell you who your dragon guardians are, or tell you anything. And that is just not how we appreciate dragons. The way that we appreciate dragons is by doing the hard work, by transforming ourselves, evolving ourselves, standing up for what's right, by breaking bad patterns, by breaking generational curses, by evolving our soul, by doing the best that we can to be better human beings. That's how we attract the dragons. That's how we connect with the dragon guardians, and that is how we appreciate them within our lives. Let's take a pivot to the astral, because anyone who claims that their practice is predominantly astral projection or predominantly an astral practice is a huge red flag. Why? Because the astral plane is not something that's easily accessible. It's not something that we can just visit every day. It's not something that you can visit while being present in your body. By definition, astral projection is an out-of-body experience. And what that means is that anyone who claims to have a predominantly astral projection is essentially claiming that they're predominantly out of their body, which by definition is not a grounded practice. You should not be focused on the astral for the most of your craft. That is dangerous. That is a great way to lose your mind, okay? This is why dragons want us to stay grounded in things like science and history and mythological precedent, because it helps us keep our feet firmly planted in the ground while our heads are in the clouds. Do you know what I mean? People who claim to visit the astral often and have very vivid memories of the astral with their human senses like sight, smell, touch, sound. What they're actually experiencing is called Imagination Magick, which is an incredibly powerful practice to have. And I am no way or shape or form am shaming imagination magic. What I am trying to caution against is calling imaginative practices astral projection, because they simply are not, right? So when we imagine ourselves in the astral plane, or when we have like astral locations, for example, some people will like co-create astral temples together. That is just not astral projection, okay? Like, this is not an astral practice. That is an imagination practice, meaning that it is all in your head. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not real, right? Like, I'm not trying to discredit the reality of your practice. What I'm trying to do is really educate you on what you're experiencing is not what you think it is. It is not astral projection. It is not an astral craft. It is an imagination craft. It's happening in your mind's eye. It's not happening outside of your body. For example, with the rise of TikTok, this has become a huge trend to do things like bilocation, which is where you believe you are in the physical moment embodied in your body, as well as present in the astral spiritually, and you're able to do both actions in both places at once. This can also be considered maladaptive daydreaming, when you do imagination magic without any grounding and it starts to affect your connections, your sleeping, and your anxiety levels, for example. You start losing time, sometimes hours at a time. That's when it becomes maladaptive daydreaming instead of just imagination magic. We have to be really intentional about how we use our imaginations and how we use our mental space and how we use our creative abilities. Because when we do it in the wrong way, we can become the masters of our own demise by creating delusions that we can never escape from, simply because whatever you believe in becomes reality. Perception is reality. And by doing imagination magic and claiming that it's astral travel, what you're doing is altering your perception of reality into thinking that you really are traveling in the astral realm. Having shared spaces or having shared astral experiences with other people is more closely related to imagination roleplay than it is to actual astral projection. I guarantee anyone who's in these comments right now who's angry at me saying that what I'm talking about that isn't real is real for them, I'm sure that they have had these experiences and it has been nothing but imagination magic. And I don't care if I get flack for that. Why? Because I know that these practices are dangerous. I have witnessed people who I love very much lose their minds over this, and I do not care if I have to be the bad guy to bring a message of safety. I've never seen any kind of content online about dragon safety like this, which is why I wanted to do it for Dragon Appreciation Day, because the best way we can appreciate our dragons is by having a safe practice with them and a grounded practice with them, and be respectful about the history and the mythology that they come from. The second we start doing willy-nilly whatever we want with that and claiming whatever we want with that is the second that we lose the plot, we become delusional, we become dangerous, and we start just disrespecting the craft that we so know and love. I also would just like to take a moment to say that like Godspousing is not having a schmexual or a romantic connection to your deities or your dragons. This is something that TikTok has sensationalized into believing some people that this is how it works, and that's just not real, okay? I'd like to remind you that Godspousing and dragon mating is simply a connection that is of pure devotion for a lifetime or lifetimes. And this has been taken out of context and sensationalized to where people are having like astral boyfriends or like spiritual dragon companions in a way that's like just so not what they're meant for. The dragons won't work with you if you have certain beliefs about them being like these caricatures of what they actually are. They're not supposed to fulfill some role for you in your life. Like, they're supposed to be your ally. They're supposed to be your teammates in helping create a better life in this world. They're supposed to be, your cheerleaders and improving yourself. The dragons aren't supposed to be like an emotional crutch for you. They're not an escape from this reality, okay? Dragons help us cope with this reality. They don't help us escape this reality, right? Dragons help us look at this reality. They don't help us look away from this reality, okay? And people who are looking away from the real world in favor of their astral world with dragons have lost the plot. Stay away from them and save your mental health. Thank you, TikTok, for popularizing Servitors, Egregores, and Thoughtforms, because now everybody just thinks they can create dragons however they want, however they wish, however they will. What is a Servitor? A Servitor is created by a singular practitioner to serve a certain purpose within their craft. It's a spiritual entity that is conceived within the mind and fed through various means to sustain its existence. An egregore is very much the same type of spiritual entity, except it is created through a collective or a group of people, through their collective belief and offerings and worship. And then there are thought forms, which are essentially just concepts or ideas or symbols, if you will, that a person may use or create to help them touch in with their craft, help them maintain a certain particular type of path, or to help them serve another purpose, for example. But it's not as like Sirius as a servitor. Creating Thoughtforms, Servitors, and Egregores are very different from Dragon Guardians and Dragon Deities. Why? Because Dragon Deities and Dragon Guardians will exist before you, during you, and after you, whether or not you believe in them. Where Dragon Servitors, Egregores, and Thoughtforms, they only exist if you create them and only exist if you sustain them properly. Here's a few things that you should know if you're going to work with Dragon Servitors, Egregores, or Thoughtforms. This is how we appreciate the dragons and be respectful when we're creating them. First and foremost, humans are not able to create them themselves. They need dragons to help them create other dragons. And I know this might be a very unpopular take. Humans are not able to raise that energy to create a dragon thought form themselves. They're not able to raise that, right? It's dragon magic because of the dragons, okay? Otherwise, you're just casting magic. It's just chaos magic, right? But what makes it draconic chaos magic is when you have the help of your dragon deities or the dragon guardians that help you create these servitors, these egregores, and these thought forms. Either way, you're going to need a dragon guardian or a dragon deity to help you create any of these kinds of chaos types of magic, right? It's incredibly important that you have your dragons to help you so you don't lose your mind a little bit, right? The dragons are going to help you raise that energy and they're going to help you sustain it longer, and they're also going to help keep you grounded in this practice because you will exhaust yourself trying to create a dragon servitor, egregore, or anything like that without the help of a dragon. Important things to remember about servitors, egregores, and thought forms. We don't have sex to create them, okay? There's no such astral anything to create them, okay? There's no copulation situation, okay? That's weird, that's suspicious. They're not real dragons, right? Real dragons will exist whether or not you believe in them. Servitors, egregores, and thought forms only exist because you believe in them. Some people power trip on creating egregores, and it's very dangerous, and it can be very scary, and it's really important to remember that if you start feeling yourself drunk on power of creating draconic deities or thinking that you can create dragon gods, that's when you lose the plot. The second we think we can create, control, or compel dragons to do something outside of their will is the moment we lose the plot and the moment we lose our minds. And I just really don't want to see any more mental health episodes over dragons. One of the most sacred honors that a dragon witch could ever experience is by working with dragon eggs and working with hatchling guardians. Now, this is a type of practice that I keep very close to my chest, but it is the huge reason why I call the hatchlings, of course. Number one, it's the highest honor in the sense that we cannot create dragon eggs. We cannot create or forge them with our own magic. Humans do not have the type of energy that it takes to create a dragon egg. The dragon eggs that we receive in our craft are gifts from our guardians, mostly for completing certain dragon trials, which if you are interested in learning more about dragon trials, I'm more than happy to make a video about them specifically. So let me know in the comments if you'd like to know more about dragon trials. They're given to us as rewards. They're given to us sometimes even as progress markers. We work with the dragon eggs, we hatch the dragon eggs into hatchling guardians, and these hatchling guardians grow up with us. For example, Pickle Chip says that I'm able to finally share this with you guys now, and I'm very excited to introduce you to one of my new guardians that I was gifted by Pickle Chips, one of my dragon guardians who's a celestial dragon. We call him Pickle Chips as a nickname here online because his real name I cannot share with you. This is what I call a dragon egg. Now, dragon eggs are very different for everybody, right? They can be astral only, they can be crystal, they can be man-made crystal eggs. But for me personally, this one's really unique because this is a raw garnet stuck in the matrix, and this literally looks like a dragon egg. I'd like you all to meet Garnet. This is my dragon egg that I have been tasked with raising by Pickle Chips. I encountered this dragon guardian when I was at the Rock Paradise secret warehouse. Shout out to Jason over there at Rock Paradise. And I asked my dragon guardian Pickle Chips, could I have a sign that I completed my dragon trial? At the time I was going through a really difficult one, and I'm not going to share the details of this dragon trial, but basically Pickle Chips told me to ask the owner of the store if I could have this, and he would give it to me, not knowing why. So I asked him, and he's like, I don't know why I'm giving this to you, but I'll give it to you, because this is a very rare piece of garnet, and one that would probably be a very pretty penny. I'm so grateful and privileged that it was a gift, and I wouldn't have asked for it as a gift if Pickle Chips didn't tell me to. My point is that this was a very intense journey for me to acquire this dragon egg. And it wasn't just something that I created or found and decided, hey, that's a dragon egg. These are very incredibly rare opportunities to work with dragon eggs and to raise hatchling guardians, which is why I would highly advise against working with hatchlings, hatchling guardians, or dragon eggs in any way, shape, or form until after you have established a very strong connection with dragon guardians already, and you have already cultivated a practice of passing dragon trials. When people say that they create dragon eggs in the astral world by having like sex with like their guardians or like doing things they shouldn't be, it's incredibly disrespectful to people who work very hard to acquire dragon eggs like this, who work very hard to connect with their guardians and impress them enough to be gifted even the opportunity of being able to have a dragon egg, right? I also collect crystal eggs that I dedicate to my guardians. That is a different type of dragon egg that I'm not referencing in here. Personally referencing the dragon spirit that resides within this egg, whom I call Garnet. I know, super original. But this is just an example of like what it actually looks like to encounter dragon eggs and work with hatchling guardians, as opposed to what we see on TikTok or what we see in some like Discord communities that will claim that you can make like 600,000 eggs in the astral, or will claim like, oh, this is a part of my practice for 4 years, like I create dragons. Like, no, sweetheart, you don't. This is just very disrespectful to the people who actually follow the draconic path, and it's very disrespectful to the people who dedicate their whole lives in a grounded scientific fashion. So the way that we appreciate our dragons is not by thinking we can create them whenever we want. The way we appreciate our dragons is by passing our dragon trials and treating the honor that it is of getting a dragon egg with the utmost respect and discipline to bring forth the hatchling guardian. Something that's been gaining hella popularity is Dragonkin and Dragon Souls. So I need to talk to you guys about how no one can confirm again that you are Dragonkin or Dragon Soul. What's the difference? So Dragonkin is people who believe they are dragon spirits within a human body. And dragon souls are people who believe they are human with the soul aspects or with soul fragments of a dragon. Sometimes entirely of a dragon. The way that this differs is that Dragonkin tend to feel more closely related to the dragons as if they were a dragon and the dragons are their family. They will also experience a phenomenon called shifting. This can feel like having phantom limbs, like having wings or having a tail or having horns, and it can also look like having a mental shift, which means you have more behaviors like that of a dragon. It's very different from the dragon soul because the dragon soul is somebody who cultivates their experience by alchemizing their soul to be more like a dragon. It's about purifying their soul to be more dragon-like, or to embody their higher self, which is a dragon, as much as they possibly can. It's about anchoring their draconic essence into their body as much as possible, rather than just being a dragon, if that makes sense. So many people will offer dragon soul readings or dragonkin readings, like I do, but the difference is that they will confirm that you are dragonkin, or they will confirm your dragon soul for you. They don't get your consent, they don't get your feedback, and that's where it becomes problematic. They can't just give you a reading and claim that you're like a dragon soul or a dragonkin. Like, the whole point of being a dragon soul, the whole point of being dragonkin is discovering that for yourself. You don't just hand someone money and get the answers. That's not real, okay? Please don't practice like that. If you've ever handed someone money and they gave you answers about you and you've created your whole identity around that, please go think about that for a second. While that's totally valid to have people confirm things and it's great to have readings that resonate, they are not factual. They are for entertainment purposes only, and people who are offering you these readings without disclosing that are breaking the law. Yes, again, they are breaking the law. These are for entertainment purposes only. They are not factual. The person who you're getting your readings from is not the be-all end-all of knowledge for dragons, and you at the end of the day get to decide what you are. You get to define yourself for you. No one else can do that for you unless you give them that power. So when it comes to these things, please just take precaution and make sure you know who you are before you buy these kinds of readings, because they can drastically harm your relationship with yourself, your spirit team, and your practice. I really just want to close this with saying the most important thing is anchoring yourself to reality, however that looks like for you. Me and my practice, for example, the way I stay anchored in my practice to reality is by protecting what's precious and prioritizing my nervous system regulation, as well as my studies in mythology and history of across the world. This is what my dragons want me to do. My dragons tell me I'm supposed to study all religions that I can, which is why right now I'm actually studying the Abrahamic religions, and we'll be reading the Quran here again soon on the channel. I need you guys to know that people power trip when they don't have these anchors. People lose their minds and even corrupt their souls when they don't have anchors. They become so unrepairable, so unrecognizable, and it morphs them into something that they never wanted to be, but they cannot seem to escape. I just wanted to make this video because I appreciate my dragons today, and they have been the guiding light for me to not only find my way out of the darkest moments of my life, but they were the ones who reminded me to never stop believing in God, and they were the ones who also showed me a better way of life. They were the ones who showed me magic is real. They were the one who showed me that I am worth it. They were the ones who showed me that my dreams can come true. So for today, I wanted to appreciate the dragons by sharing with you how I stay grounded within my practice with them and how you can stay safe when you work with the dragons as well. And if you're new here, merry meet. My name is Azura Dragonfeather. I've been working with dragons for 20 plus years, and in today, in honor of Dragon Appreciation Day, I bring you the dangers of working with dragons. If you would like to learn more about dragons and how to avoid these dangers, don't forget to join the Hatchling Clan Discord server, which is linked down below. I have created this community in honor of the Year of the Dragon because everyone deserves dragons. It's free for you to enjoy. We have over 200 amazing members who just love discussing magic and especially their passion for dragons, and it will not be the same without you. So please do not be shy. Come join us today. It's the first link in the description of this video, and I cannot wait to get to know you better. Thank you so much for your time and attention. I know this video was a little bit hard to get through, but I hope you enjoyed as much as I did, and I hope you're having a wonderful day appreciating your dragons. But until next time, stay geeky cheeky and friendly! Little hatchlings! Blessed be your bye!